So how does a team use competition at practice to improve their play? It seems like there must be a balance, you know, and I'm guessing you're talking about the balance between like being super competitive but also sort of being unified as a team. You know, what is the importance of competition at practice in order to prepare your team for tough, high-pressured games? Yeah, so there's two things that I want to touch on here when it comes to the importance of competition at practice. One thing that people ask me about a lot is like, how do you be mentally tough, or how do you prepare your team to be mentally tough? And I think a lot of people think that there are these like tricks or like cool things that you do at the tournament to prepare your team mentally to rise to the occasion. And I think that that's true. There are specific things you can do at tournaments. But truly, the biggest thing that you can do throughout the course of the year is you need to simulate as much as possible the feeling of being highly motivated and highly competitive at your trainings, and that is the best mental training for big games, okay? And that can be really hard. For some people, it's just, they just don't have it in them to get up for a practice. And that's really gonna be on you as a coach and your leadership to figure out ways to do that. So Scott, you asked me sort of what's the balance? For me, it's all about creating, the balance is between creating both opportunities to learn and be successful and make mistakes, and opportunities to compete as individuals and opportunities to compete as a team, okay? So when I say opportunities to learn, I'm talking about like a lot of times it's, you know, these are the early in the season situations where we're working on a specific fundamental skill. Maybe it's marking, maybe it's breaking the mark, something like that. Or maybe it's like a team skill. Maybe it's like defensive switching, something like that. You know, I'm going to mentally prepare myself as a leader to say, okay, during this part of the training, I'm not going to be as hard on my players about certain things. I'm going to allow opportunities for mistakes. I'm going to say, hey, we want people to make mistakes because the only way we're going to learn this thing is if we make mistakes, okay? And so sometimes those types of practices can be hard because like a lot of times there is a lot of mistakes and you're like, should I be hard on the team? And maybe people start to lose focus, they get frustrated, but that's okay. You just have to know that that's part of your process. I also like to have a balance of individual drills that are like one-on-one or two-on-two competitive, okay? And I like to say that to the team, okay? If we're doing a one-on-one downfield defensive drill, that is just, everyone's under the bright lights. You know, maybe if there's only one-on-one doing the drill, that means there's a lot of people watching, and we're gonna say that. Say, hey, we're putting you on the spot right now. We want to see how you can react to this one-on-one situation and shut your guy down or win your matchup. That's something that's going to be a part of what we need to do in those big games at the end of the season. So right now we're going to practice that, okay? So you got to give your players cues so to tune in to, yes, this is really important. We want you to compete, and connect it to something at the end of the season that hopefully you've talked about as your goals. In terms of a team competition situation during the season, I really love to set the tone of competition early in practices or in trainings. Something that I think is probably pretty common is to, or at least common on the teams that I've played on at the top level, is to early on in practice, you know, maybe you do your warm-up and you do a quick little drill to get moving, but then immediately after that, we like to play a game to 3, and that is just to really get those competitive juices flowing. You know, it's not a long game, and maybe there's not a ton of strategic structure or intentionality behind that, but the intentionality is, let's get everybody firing at their top level and firing together as a team and really get those competitive juices flowing early in practice.